to Seattle in a floating pen. And it became sort of world famous. It was in National Geographic magazine and documentaries and books and so on. And there was this whale swimming around, and everybody, I think, was amazed that here was one of these ferocious animals of legendary proportions. And it turned out it was not at all like that. It wasn't the bloodthirsty killer that reputation would have had this animal to be. It was instead very docile and would take food out of hands of people. And it really, I think, started the whole interest in the aquarium world in displaying killer whales because there was such a public interest.
Well, when Namu first went on display, he just started a revolution in our thinking about these creatures. They became show business and entertainment commodities.
Can't mess around with Namu.
But sadly, the show did not last long. Namu the whale died from exposure to the pollution in Elliott Bay. But an industry was born, the age of the killer whale captures.
Captures in this area started around 1966 when entire pods were rounded up in a purse seine, herded into a bay or into an area where the net would extend all the way to the bottom. Whales, mostly young whales, were removed. In about a 10-year period, there were about 58 whales taken out of this population alone. There were about 70 left when that capture era was over. We were going to be out of whales in another 10 years if they kept it up.
It was the gold rush of killer whale in aquaria around the world. Most of them came from this area. And it was over the course of the sort of ecological awakening, I suppose, in the late 60s, early 70s. And all of a sudden people were saying, well, wait a minute, how many whales are out there? Can they sustain this kind of capture rate? And indeed, nothing was known about them.
Karen and I were out sailing, and we stumbled into the middle of this capture, and it was awful. I can tell you candidly to this day, it was one of the most gruesome things we've ever been involved in. And we watched the nets separate, and we watched them close the nets, the explosives in the water, the driving the whales, and it was just vicious. And we came home thoroughly disgusted and wanted to do something about it, and of course we took up the issue. And when they wanted to capture, these huge numbers of whales to take to different aquariums around the world, we said, no, that's not the right thing to do. And we tried to say, here's our shot to stand up as a state and to make a statement.
When we brought Namu in, we, for say, wore white hats, and all of a sudden now I'm wearing a black hat. I think my ex-partner and myself have done more for these animals than all environmental groups put together. We showed the public that these critters are not something to be shot at or something to be harassed. They are not the mean, vicious critter they were 10 years ago.
I think it was a different attitude. I would guess that 25% of people were with us. Probably 75% of people were either against us or just didn't care. But as time's gone by, that's changed dramatically. I mean, today I would guess that 95% of people, maybe 97% would say, don't touch our whales. Leave these whales alone.
Today, the orcas of the inland sea are serving a new role, a window into the health of the ecosystem. The canary in the coal mine, and now the canary is dying. In the south part of the inland sea, the great pods are disappearing fast, and the exact cause is still a mystery. What's killing the killer whales? Where have all the orcas gone? I'm Jean-Michel Cousteau. I've been a scuba diver all my life, or just about since my father pushed me overboard at the age of 7. I've been fortunate enough to explore the undersea world. But most people see oceans only in the context of land, perhaps from a boat, and so little is revealed.